James one is welcome to the tasting table. These three Prosecco are next from the producer Bellenda. Stay tuned, I'll give you my thoughts and perspectives on each of these wines. This is a wonderful house of high quality wines, and these are going to be low on the sugar content. So we have from Brut to Extra Brut wines. I'll talk about that. I love the stylization, especially Extra Brut and Brut Nature. There's no Brut Nature in this, of course, but lovely wines to be tasting. But before I get started, be sure to give a like and subscribe to this channel. This is the first wine that I'll be talking about. This is a FERMO wine. So this is Conegliano Valdobbiadene DOCG. This is Prosecco Superiore Brut. This is a 2021 vintage. 11.6% ABV, back label for you to look at here, 6.5 grams per liter. And I think, first of all, I love the bottle shapes. I do not know if each of these are available in the United States because I don't have any price points on them. I did look online and see a few Bellenda wines available in the US. Really good price points, by the way, between say $15 and early 20s. Now, versus one thing that's really remarkable in the tastings, I get maybe one vintage wine, Millesimato wine. I don't often get them in the tastings. Sometimes they're all non-vintage wines or multi-vintage wines. Now, a bit of vinification notes here. After the clusters are destemmed, the grapes are gently pressed. The must is gravity settled and then fermented at 18 to 20 degrees centigrade. The wine matures slowly for about 1 to 3 months, and the second fermentation is performed with the Italian method in 100 hectoliter still pressured fermenters for a period of 2 months. So on this, nose of citrus, white stone fruit, and a hint of jasmine. Next is a palate characterization. So definitely this tastes like an Extra Brut wine, especially on the palate. And so on this characterization is white peach notes, bosque pear, as well as a hint of almonds. This wine is 94 points out of 100 points. Next, I'll talk about the SC wine. Now I'm going to pour the C Uno in my wine glass. This is definitely a tulip-shaped glass because I think they're the best for smelling and enjoying this wine. Here is the bottle itself, very sophisticated bottle. I love the bottling program here. C Uno, meaning you are a. That's actually named after a party or an event at a family event of the Cosmo family. Here's the back label for you to look at here. Now this wine is a Rive wine. I'll tell you about that in a moment. Back label for you to look at here. 11.6% ABV, 2.04 grams per liter. So again, very super dry. Now this wine is a vintage wine, Millesimato 2018. This is C Uno Conegliano Valdobbiadene Prosecco Superiore Extra Brut Rive de Carpiseca. So the Rive is always posted at the end of the title of the wine itself, and so you know which Rive this is coming from. And actually, it's my first time tasting a wine from the Rive de Carpiseca. So now this wine here, just as I like to do on wines, I like to talk about the vinification. So now after the clusters are destemmed and the grapes are gently pressed, the must is gravity settled and fermented at 18 to 20 degrees centigrade. The wine matures slowly, then re-ferments in the bottle for over 12 months. After disgorging, it is topped up with the same wine, then giving it a further 6 months of aging before release. Now, if you're used to an extra dry, meaning that it has a little more sugar, I know the conventions are very confusing in terms of the naming style, but ultimately an extra dry is not extra dry that we think about. Extra Brut is the driest of that. Obviously there's Brut Nature, which is 0 dosage, but the Extra Brut has a bit of sugar on it, but this is so low in sugar content that it's very appreciable on the palate. And this is white and green citrus, as well as a bit of white peach notes, and what I enjoy is a sea spray on this, as well as a floral notation. And next, a palate characterization. So on the palate here, winter fruit of apple and pear, a bit of oyster shell note, as well as brioche and almond notation. This wine is 94 points out of 100 points. And next is this last wine right here called Essi. So the Cosmo family founded this in the mid 80s, and the founder, his name is Sergio Cosmo, born in 1931, hence the name Essi 1931. Back label for you to look at here. Now this is Metodo Classico, Conegliano Valdobbiadene DOCG wine, Prosecco Superiore Dosé 2018 vintage, 11.5% ABV, and this wine is 1 gram per liter, so super dry. Now these wines are created in autoclave. This is a classical method. Classical method really refers to the secondary fermentation, say the style of New World sparkling wines or say champagnes, for example. And so that's the stylization here. It's slightly different. It's a very nice way of treating Glera in this stylization. I think it's a really elegant, beautiful wine. It's actually my favorite of these three wines that I'm sampling here. Now, this wine, Vinification Notes, are the following: is after the clusters are destemmed and the grapes are gently pressed, the must is gravity settled and then partially fermented in stainless steel and then in oak barrels. With the process of vinification is very similar. After the clusters are destemmed, the grapes are gently pressed, the must is gravity settled, then partially fermented in stainless steel and partially in oak barrels with no temperature control. The wine matures sur lie for 3 months. After the second fermentation in the bottle, the wine rests sur lie for 16 to 18 months and then is gorged top to the same wine with no liqueur d'expédition. So here we go with this wine. It is just remarkably beautiful. So I love the style of Extra Brut or Brut Nature. Some questions and beliefs are that Extra Brut and Brut Nature are going to be less exciting on the palate to experience. But to me, I think they're quite the opposite. I think they're very exhilarating, and this is a nice stylization. So this is, getting to that New World or the champagne style wines. And the difference is obviously the Glera grape. And so I think it's a really nice homage to that style of making wine in a region that's really known for its Charmant method. So they do come out slightly differently. And if you're tasting these blind, you probably wouldn't notice that. But I think the focus and sophistication on this. So I could definitely pick out, say, the Charmant method versus a Metodo Classico. I think they're evident, but it would be fun to go through that experiment. So on this nose of stone fruit, that is white and yellow stone fruit, green citrus, and a hint of jasmine flowers. Next is the palate characterization. So lovely texture, beauty to this wine, elegance, aptly dry, but full of character, white nectarine, dried fruit, almonds, and again the flower notation comes through, as well as an oyster shell characterization. Absolutely beautiful, 95 points out of 100 points. Now be sure to subscribe to this channel again, give a like. More information on this producer will be listed down below. Questions and comments you can list there. You'll find me on social medias of Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video review. And enjoy sparkling wines Prosecco, and enjoy that not just on a occasional or a celebratory basis, but as I do, which is at least once a week. Stay tuned for more. I will see you soon. Salute!